Commander Zekthar's 4 eyes widened as the sensor data streamed across his holographic display. His tentacles trembled, a reaction he hadn't experienced in 300 cycles of military service. The Galactic Empire's most decorated scout commander had discovered thousands of primitive civilizations, but nothing had prepared him for this. The blue-green planet designated as Earth floated innocently in the void, third from its yellow star. Initial scans had classified it as a Level 2 civilization, barely capable of leaving their own atmosphere. The Empire's automated probes had cataloged them decades ago. Bipedal mammals, average intelligence, prone to internal conflicts, technologically infantile. Nothing worth the Empire's attention. But now something was wrong. Very wrong. Navigation officer, confirm these readings. Zekthar commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had conquered star systems before his subordinates had hatched from their pods. Confirmed, Commander, replied Lieutenant Vexura, her crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. The anomaly is, it's impossible, sir. Zekthar's primary tentacle tapped against his command throne. The readings showed a massive energy signature moving through the Sol system at sublight speeds. That wasn't unusual. Many species use conventional drives. What made his species' equivalent of blood run cold was the configuration. The object was clearly a ship, but its design violated every principle of starship construction the Empire had perfected over 50,000 years. Where Imperial vessels were sleek, utilizing maximum efficiency in their oval designs, this thing was angular, boxy, inefficient. It looked like someone had welded metal plates together with no regard for aerodynamics or energy conservation. Perhaps it's a cargo hauler, suggested his tactical officer, trying to rationalize what they were seeing. Zekthar would have laughed if his species possessed that ability. Look at the power output, fool. That primitive-looking vessel is generating energy levels that rival our newest battlecruisers. The bridge fell silent. The Empire's battlecruisers were powered by contained singularities, the pinnacle of energy technology. Each one cost the resources of an entire star system to build. Yet this ugly, angular monstrosity was matching their output with what appeared to be were those fusion reactors. Magnify Section 7, Zekthar ordered. The image zoomed in, revealing more impossibilities. The hull wasn't made of the exotic metamaterials the Empire used. Spectral analysis showed simple steel alloys, titanium, and carbon composites. Materials so primitive that the Empire had stopped using them before conquering their first galaxy. Sir, the science officer interjected, his voice pitched high with anxiety. I'm detecting weapon ports. Of course they have weapons. Even primitive species understand the need for defense. No, sir, you don't understand. I'm detecting thousands of them. The holographic display updated, highlighting the weapon systems. Zekthar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme shock. The human ship was covered in weapons. Not the elegant, integrated energy beam projectors the Empire favored, but crude kinetic weapons, missile tubes, and what appeared to be magnetic rail systems. Primitive projectile weapons, his tactical officer scoffed. Our shields could deflect such antiques indefinitely. But Zekthar wasn't dismissing anything. His long career had taught him that survival meant respecting the unexpected. Run a combat simulation. Full parameters. The ship's AI began processing. In the Empire's entire history, no projectile weapon had ever breached their energy shields. Their technology was so advanced that most species surrendered at the mere sight of an Imperial vessel. The simulation would confirm what they all knew, that this human ship, despite its crude appearance, posed no real threat. The results appeared on screen. The bridge fell silent again, but this time it was the silence of disbelief. Computer error, the tactical officer stammered. Run it again. They ran it 5 times. The results remained consistent. The human vessel's weapons, crude as they were, would overwhelm Imperial shields through sheer volume of fire. Where the Empire's military doctrine focused on precision and elegance, the humans had apparently decided that if one gun was good, 1,000 were better. Look at the armor composition, the the science officer added, his voice barely a whisper. They've layered it. Ablative outer shell, then ceramic, then steel, then is that ice? Ice. Frozen water, sir. Hundreds of meters of it between armor layers. Our energy weapons would waste tremendous power, just vaporizing it before reaching the actual hull. Zekthar's mind raced. The Empire's weapons were designed to pierce energy shields and melt through advanced armor materials. But ice? Simple frozen water? The thermal energy would dissipate uselessly, requiring multiple strikes to penetrate each layer. It was so primitive, it was brilliant. There's more, Commander, Lieutenant Vexera announced. I'm detecting multiple ships emerging from Earth's orbital dockyards. The display updated. Where one impossible ship had been, now there were 12. Each one ugly, angular, and according to their sensors, absurdly overpowered and overarmed. As they watched, construction bays around Earth showed the skeletal frameworks of dozens more in various stages of completion. How long have they been building these? Zekthar demanded, cross-referencing with our surveillance data. Commander, they started construction 18 months ago. 18 months? That's impossible. It takes the Empire 20 years to build a single battle cruiser. They're not using our methods, sir. Look at this. The screen showed human construction techniques, where the Empire grew their ships in specialized zero-G berthing chambers, carefully cultivating each component. The humans were welding, cutting, bolting pieces together like some kind of three-dimensional puzzle. Crews of humans in primitive environmental suits swarmed over the hulls, manually installing components. It's so crude, someone whispered. Crude, but effective, Zekthar corrected. They can build a fleet in the time it takes us to grow a single hull. The commander's tactical mind was already running scenarios. The Empire's entire military doctrine was based on technological superiority. Their ships were masterpieces of engineering, each one perfect, efficient, and devastatingly powerful. But they were also rare, precious, and took decades to replace. The humans had apparently decided on a different approach entirely. Their ships were ugly, inefficient, and technologically primitive. But they could build them fast, arm them with so many weapons that sophistication became irrelevant, and armor them with materials so basic that the Empire's advanced weapons were actually at a disadvantage. Sir, we're detecting a transmission from the lead human vessel. Put it through. The holographic projector shimmered, revealing a human in what appeared to be a military uniform. The creature had only 2 eyes, positioned front-facing like a predator. No tentacles, no crystalline components, just soft flesh and rigid bones. How such a fragile species had survived, let alone reach space, was a mystery. Unknown vessel. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the United Earth Defense Force ship Sledgehammer. Please identify yourself and state your intentions in soul space. Sledgehammer. They named their warship Sledgehammer, not Harmony of the Stars or Celestial Grace like proper civilizations. Sledgehammer. Zekthar composed himself. Admiral Chun, I am Commander Zekthar of the Galactic Empire Scout vessel Infinite Wisdom. We are conducting routine surveys of developing civilizations. The human's facial expression changed in what Zekthar had learned was called a smile. On a species with so many exposed teeth, it was unsettling. Routine surveys? With a ship that our sensors identify as having enough firepower to glass a small moon? Commander, I may be new to this whole galactic community thing, but I wasn't born yesterday. I assure you, our presence here is purely observational. Good. Then you won't mind observing from outside our system. You have 1 hour to begin withdrawal. The transmission ended. Zekthar stared at the blank display. In 50,000 years, no species had ever ordered an Imperial vessel to withdraw. The sheer audacity was breathtaking. Sir, should we teach these primitives a lesson? His tactical officer suggested. Zekthar looked at the sensor data again. 12 ships now, with more launching every few hours. Each one a flying brick stuffed with enough weapons to make a fortress jealous. His single scout ship, for all its technological superiority, would last perhaps minutes against such firepower. No, we report back to Imperial Command. They need to know about this. Know about what, sir? That humans build ugly ships. Zekthar turned all four eyes on his officer. No, you fool. They need to know that humans don't build ships like we do. They don't follow the rules. They don't care about elegance or efficiency or thousand-year-old design principles. They build weapons wrapped in armor wrapped in more weapons, and they build them fast. He looked back at the display, where the human fleet was arranging itself into what his tactical computer identified as an aggressive formation. The Empire is about to learn a very painful lesson. Sometimes, the primitive approach is the most dangerous one of all. As the infinite wisdom began its withdrawal from soul space, Zekthar couldn't shake the feeling that he had just witnessed the beginning of something that would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Empire. The humans were coming, and they were bringing their sledgehammers with them. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Empire stretched upward for kilometers, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 captured stars. Representatives from every conquered species in the Empire's vast domain filled the viewing platforms, their forms ranging from gaseous clouds of sentience to silicon-based arthropods. At the center, the Inner Council convened, 5 beings who controlled the fate of 10,000 worlds. High Executor Valnash extended her prismatic wings, calling for order. Her species, the Ethereals, had founded the Empire eons ago, and their word was law. Commander Zekthar, step forward and present your findings. Zekthar moved to the testimony platform, feeling the weight of 1,000,000 eyes upon him. In his 400 cycles of life, he had never stood before the full council. Scout commanders who brought news of new primitives usually received a brief commendation and orders for the conquest fleet. This time was different. Honored Council, he began, activating his holographic presentation. I present my findings regarding the species designated as human from the Sol system. The first images appeared Earth, blue and green and deceptively peaceful. Another water world with carbon-based life. Dismissed Counselor Morpak, his gelatinous form rippling with disinterest. Schedule them for integration in the next conquest cycle. With respect, Counselor, I recommend you examine the following data before making that determination. The hologram shifted to show the human vessels. A ripple of amusement passed through the gathered representatives. The ships were undeniably ugly, rectangular blocks covered in protruding sensor arrays, weapon systems, and what appeared to be random mechanical components. They build their vessels like their domiciles, someone laughed from the viewing galleries, stacking blocks upon blocks. How quaint. But the Inner Council wasn't laughing. They had access to Zekthar's full sensor data streaming directly to their neural interfaces. These power readings must be incorrect, High Executor Valnash stated, her wings dimming with concern. I verified them personally, Your Excellence. Multiple redundant scans. The humans are generating energy levels comparable to our stellar-class vessels using primitive fusion technology. Counselor Drex, a mechanical intelligence that had achieved sentience millennia ago, processed the data at light speed. Impossible. Fusion reaction efficiency peaks at 0.7% mass energy conversion. To achieve these levels, they would need reactors of impractical size. Show them the internal scans, Zekthar requested. The hologram zoomed into a cross-section of a human ship, where Imperial vessels dedicated perhaps 10% of their volume to power generation. The human ships were nearly 40% reactor. Massive fusion chambers lined up in rows, feeding energy to systems through crude but effective superconducting cables. They simply built bigger reactors, Zekthar explained, and more of them. Where we pursued efficiency, they pursued excess. Wasteful, Counselor Morpak gurgled. The fuel requirements alone would be astronomical. Yes, Zekthar agreed, which is why they fitted their ships with fuel tanks that comprise another 30% of their volume. They sacrificed living space, aesthetic design, and efficiency for raw power output. High Executor Valnash studied the data and the weapons. The display changed to show the weapon systems analysis. The council chamber fell silent. 4,000 kinetic projectile launchers per vessel, Zekthar reported. 800 missile tubes. 96 magnetic acceleration cannons. And these, he highlighted a particular system. They call them nuclear-pumped lasers. They detonate fission devices to generate brief but incredibly powerful energy beams. They detonate nuclear weapons inside their own ships. Counselor Yixta asked, her feathers ruffling in distress. In specially designed chambers, yes. The humans appear to have a different relationship with radiation than most species. They consider it a manageable hazard rather than an existential threat. The weapons analysis continued. Where Imperial doctrine favored precision strikes with advanced energy weapons, the humans had taken a different approach. Their targeting systems were basic, their weapons crude, but the sheer volume of fire they could produce was staggering. Our shields are designed to deflect focused energy attacks. Military advisor Kronks interjected, his battle scars glowing as he spoke. They cycle and recharge between strikes. But against this many physical projectiles, the shields would be under constant strain, Counselor Drex completed. Unable to cycle, they would fail from simple overload. It gets worse, Zekthar continued, bringing up the armor analysis. Their whole construction uses alternating layers of simple materials. Steel, ceramics, carbon fiber, and frozen water. Our plasma beams, designed to cut through advanced metamaterials, waste most of their energy vaporizing ice and heating steel. High Executor Valnash's wings flickered, a sign of deep thought. How long have they possessed spaceflight capability? First orbital flight was less than 200 of their years ago. First manned, landing on their moon, 150 years. They've had faster-than-light communication for only 50 years. Impossible. Counselor Morpak's outburst sent ripples through his gelatinous body. No species develops military spacecraft of this capability in such a time frame. The humans did. Would you like to see their construction methods? The hologram showed the orbital shipyards of Earth, where the Empire's ships were grown in zero-gravity berthing chambers over decades, carefully nurturing each component to perfection. The humans built their ships like they were assembling furniture. Workers in environmental suits welded hull plates, installed components, and ran cables with manual tools. 20 vessels completed in 18 months, Zekthar reported. With current production, they'll have 200 within 5 years. The Council exchanged worried glances through various sensory organs. The Empire's entire fleet numbered less than 1,000 ships, each one a masterpiece that took decades to construct. The humans were building warships like they were mass-producing ground vehicles. Surely their crews must be poorly trained, suggested military advisor Kronks. Such rapid expansion cannot maintain quality. That brings me to perhaps the most disturbing discovery, Zekthar said, activating a new file. Human neural plasticity. The display showed comparative brain scans from various species. Most sentients, once they reached maturity, had relatively fixed neural patterns. Learning new skills took time and effort. The human brain scans looked like a constantly shifting storm of activity. They can retrain their neural pathways at will, Zekthar explained. A human who spent their life as an accountant can become a competent starship gunner in 6 months. Their military training programs are built around this adaptability. Furthermore, he continued, humans thrive under stress conditions that would kill most species. High gravity, radiation, extreme temperatures. They treat these as training opportunities rather than hazards. Their ships maintain what they call battle stations, deliberately uncomfortable conditions that keep the crew in peak alertness. High Executor Valnash rose from her position, wings fully extended, a gesture that demanded absolute attention. Show the combat projections. The hologram displayed various battle scenarios. In every simulation, the human vessels, despite their technological inferiority, achieved victory through sheer overwhelming firepower and an apparent indifference to casualties that would be considered acceptable by Imperial standards. In scenario after scenario, Zekthar narrated, human commanders show a willingness to sustain damage that would cause any rational species to retreat. They have a saying, if you're not willing to shell your own position, You're not willing to win. Madness, someone whispered. Or a different form of logic, Counselor Drex observed. They calculate victory differently than we do. Where we preserve each ship as a valuable asset, they treat them as expendable tools. There's one more thing, Zekthar said, his voice dropping. Their planet's history. The display showed Earth's historical data. Centuries of constant warfare, conflicts that devastated entire continents, weapons that could render their planet uninhabitable. Yet they survived, thrived, and reached for the stars. They gained spaceflight less than 30 years after developing nuclear weapons, he reported. Most species either destroy themselves or develop global peace before such advancement. Humans did neither. They weaponized space from the moment they reached it. Their first permanent space station included military systems. Their moon base has missile silos. They have weapons platforms throughout their system disguised as communication satellites. They've been preparing for space warfare since before they knew other species existed. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Thousands of voices in hundreds of languages debated, argued, and worried. The Empire had conquered species through technological superiority for millennia. Their entire social structure was built on the assumption that advanced technology guaranteed victory. High Executive Valnash called for silence. The question before us is simple. Do we mobilize the conquest fleet immediately before they can build more ships? Or do we attempt diplomacy? Military advisor Kronk stood. I recommend immediate action. Every day we delay, they build more vessels. A swift strike could eliminate their shipyards before they become a true threat. A swift strike with what? Kontelor yitha talenget. Our nearest battle fleet is 8 months away at maximum fold. In that time, they could build another 100 ships. Then, we use the Annihilator fleet, Kronk suggested. Planet Killer class weapons. Remove Earth entirely. The chamber fell silent. The Annihilator fleet hadn't been deployed in 1,000 years. Its use was reserved for species that posed existential threats to the Empire. You would commit genocide based on potential threat? Councilor Morpak asked. Look at the data. Kronk's scars flared bright red. They build weapons like they breathe. Their entire civilization is structured for warfare. Give them 10 years, and they'll have 1,000 ships. Give them 50, and they'll challenge the Empire itself. Perhaps, High Executive Valnash said quietly, we should consider a third option. Open communication. Trade. Bring them into the Empire as partners rather than subjects. The suggestion was so radical that for a moment, no one spoke. The Empire didn't have partners. It had rulers and subjects. Your Excellence, Counselor Drex ventured, such a precedent could destabilize our entire structure. If humans are granted partnership, other species will demand the same. And if we attack them and lose? Valnash countered. What precedent does that set? She gestured at the hologram, still showing human ships under construction. They build vessels like we've never seen. They think in ways we don't understand. They prepare for wars that don't exist. Perhaps it's time the Empire adapted as well. Commander Zekthar, she addressed him directly. What was your personal impression of the humans? Zekthar considered carefully. They are unsettling, Your Excellence. Not in their appearance or behavior, but in their approach to existence. Most species either pursue peace or conquest. Humans pursue both simultaneously. They speak of peace while building weapons. They extend friendship while planning for betrayal. They hope for the best while preparing for the worst. He paused, choosing his words. I believe they're the most dangerous species we have encountered, precisely because they expect danger. They build ugly ships because they don't care about beauty. They use primitive technology because it works. They prepare for wars they've never fought because they've been fighting wars since they evolved consciousness. And yet, he continued, they also showed restraint. They could have destroyed my vessel. Instead, they simply asked me to leave. That suggests they understand diplomacy as well as warfare. High Executive Valnash nodded slowly. The Empire faces a choice. We can attempt to crush them now, risking a conflict unlike any we've known. Or we can extend an offer of partnership, risking the transformation of everything we've built. She looked around the chamber at the thousands of species that comprise the Empire. I call for a formal vote. All in favor of immediate military action. Lights flickered across the chamber as representatives voted. When the tally completed, only 30% supported immediate attack. All in favor of diplomatic engagement. This time, 55% of lights activated. Then it is decided. We will send a diplomatic envoy to Earth. But, she raised a wing for emphasis, we will also mobilize our defenses. If the humans prove hostile, we must be ready. As the council dispersed, Zekthar found himself approached by High Executor Valnash personally. You did well, Commander. Your restraint in the face of human provocations may have saved countless lives. Or doomed them, Your Excellence. We don't know how humans will respond to diplomacy. Valnash's wings rippled with what might have been amusement. No, we don't. But we're about to find out. I'm assigning you to the diplomatic mission. You've encountered them directly. Your insights could prove valuable. Zekthar's tentacles writhed, his species equivalent of a groan. With respect, Your Excellence, I'm a military scout, not a diplomat. And there are military species pretending to be peaceful. Perhaps that makes you the perfect ambassador. As Zekthar left the chamber, he couldn't shake the feeling that the Empire had just made either its greatest decision or its worst mistake. The humans were coming to the galactic stage, and they were bringing their sledgehammers with them. The only question now was whether they'd use them to build or to destroy. The diplomatic vessel Harmony of Thought dropped out of fold space at the edge of Sol System, its pearl-white hull gleaming with the accumulated light of 1,000 suns. It was a ship designed to inspire awe and respect, its flowing curves and artistic proportions representing the peak of Imperial aesthetics. Aboard, Ambassador Valora prepared for the most important first contact in Imperial history. Remember, she instructed her team, her crystalline body resonating with carefully modulated harmonics. Humans are primitive but dangerous. We must project strength while offering partnership. Show no weakness, but avoid provocation. Beside her, Commander Zekthar remained silent. In the 3 months since the Council's decision, he had studied every piece of data about humans, learned their primary languages, and even subjected himself to their entertainment media. What he discovered disturbed him more than their weapons. Ambassador, the communication officer announced, we're receiving a transmission from the humans. Put it through. The holographic display shimmered to life, revealing Admiral Sarachun. But this time she wasn't alone. Behind her stood representatives from what appeared to be different human nations, their slight physical variations suggesting the racial diversity Zekthar had read about. What struck him most was their unity of purpose despite these differences. Ambassador Valora, I presume? Admiral Chin spoke, her lips curving in what humans called a smile. Welcome to Sol System. I'm Admiral Chun, and these are representatives from the United Earth Defense Council. We've been expecting you. You have. Valora couldn't hide her surprise. The Empire had only decided on this mission 3 months ago. Commander Zekthar's visit was rather illuminating. We figured the Galactic Empire would want to follow up. Though I'll admit, we expected warships, not diplomats. The Empire seeks peaceful relations with all species, Valora responded, delivering the practice line. Of course you do. Chin's tone suggested she didn't believe a word. Well, we prepared a reception for you at Armstrong Station, our primary diplomatic facility. Sending approach vectors now. As the harmony of thought moved deeper into the system, Zekthar watched the sensor readings with growing alarm. When he'd visited 3 months ago, the humans had 12 warships. Now, sensors showed 47, with more under construction. They're building faster, he murmured to Valora. Impossible. No species can maintain that production rate. But the evidence was undeniable. The orbital shipyards around Earth operated continuously, streams of cargo vessels delivering materials while construction crews worked in shifts. Mars, the 4th planet, showed signs of massive industrial development that hadn't been there before. Look at the asteroid belt, Zekthar pointed out. Mining operations. They're stripping entire asteroids for raw materials. What truly unsettled him wasn't the industry itself. Many species mined their systems. It was the scale and speed. The humans had deployed thousands of automated mining vessels, each one crude but effective, turning asteroids into streams of refined metals and rare elements. Ambassador, the tactical officer whispered urgently, "I'm detecting weapons locks." "What? They're targeting us?" "No, ma'am. They are demonstrating." Every human vessel in the system just achieved weapons lock on us simultaneously, then disengaged. Message received. They could destroy us whenever they choose. Velora's crystalline form flickered with indignation. "Barbaric." "Effective," Zekthar corrected. "They're establishing the parameters of negotiation." Armstrong Station loomed ahead, a massive construction that hadn't existed during Zekthar's last visit. Unlike the elegant Imperial stations that resembled works of art, this was purely functional, a rotating cylinder providing artificial gravity, bristling with communication arrays, and, notably, weapon systems. The docking procedure was smooth, professional, and unnervingly efficient. As the Imperial delegation disembarked, they found themselves in a reception area that attempted to accommodate multiple species' environmental needs. The effort was crude, but appreciated. Admiral Chun waited for them, now dressed in formal attire rather than military uniform. "Ambassador Velora, Commander Zekthar, welcome to Armstrong Station. Before we begin formal discussions, we thought you might appreciate a tour." A tour? Velora was caught off guard. Diplomatic protocols usually involved immediate negotiations. To understand humanity, you need to see how we live, not just how we fight, Chen explained. Though, admittedly, we sometimes have trouble distinguishing between the two. The tour was revealing. The station housed 50,000 humans in conditions that would be considered cramped by Imperial standards. Yet morale seemed high. Humans moved with purpose, worked with enthusiasm, and seemed genuinely excited about their expansion into space. "This is our education center," Chen explained, leading them through a section filled with young humans. Every child on this station learns basic engineering, astronavigation, and tactical combat by age 12. "You train children for war?" Velora asked, horrified. "We train them for survival," Chen corrected. "Earth's history taught us that peace is temporary. We hope for it, work toward it, but we prepare for its absence." They passed through hydroponics bays where food grew in stacked vertical farms, through manufacturing centers where machines assembled everything from clothing to starship components, through medical facilities where humans practiced trauma surgery and radiation treatment. "You'll notice," Chen pointed out, "everything serves multiple purposes. Our hydroponics bays can be converted to medical facilities. Our manufacturing centers can switch from civilian to military production in hours. Our cargo ships mount weapon hardpoints. We learned long ago that dedicated military assets are luxuries. Everything must be capable of fighting if necessary." Zekthar observed how humans interacted with their technology. Where Imperial citizens relied on AI and automation for most tasks, humans maintained manual overrides and backups for everything. They trusted their machines, but never depended on them entirely. "Why so much redundancy?" he asked as they passed the third backup life support system. "Because anything that can fail will fail," Chen replied. "Usually at the worst possible moment. We call it Murphy's Law." "You have laws governing mechanical failure?" "More like universal constants." "Come, the observation deck should interest you." The deck provided a panoramic view of Earth below. The planet turned slowly, its surface showing the lights of cities, the blue of oceans, the green and brown of continents. But what caught the Imperial delegation's attention were the defense platforms. Thousands of them, ranging from small automated weapons satellites to massive battle stations. They formed overlapping fields of fire, creating a defensive sphere that would make any assault on Earth catastrophically costly. "When did you build all this?" Velora asked, her diplomatic composure slipping. "Most of it went up in the last 6 months," Chen admitted. "After Commander Zekthar's visit, we realized we were behind schedule." "Schedule for what?" "For meeting the neighbors, of course." Chen's smile never wavered. "Shall we begin the formal negotiations?" The conference room was utilitarian, with none of the ceremonial grandeur the Empire favored. Representatives from Earth's major nations were present, along with colonial representatives from Mars and the Moon. What struck Velora was the diversity, not just physical, but ideological. These humans clearly had different opinions, yet they presented a united front. The Galactic Empire offers humanity a place within our great civilization, Velora began, activating a holographic display showing the Empire's territory. As a protected species, you would benefit from our technology, our trade networks, our defense against hostile forces. Protected species, the Mars representative repeated. That sounds like a fancy term for client state. The Empire maintains order across 10,000 worlds, Velora continued. Each species contributes according to their abilities and receives according to their needs. From each according to their abilities to each according to their needs, the Russian representative mused. We've tried that. It didn't work out well. What are the obligations of a protected species? Asked the American representative. Velora outlined the standard terms: resource tributes, military conscription quotas, adherence to imperial law, restrictions on independent expansion. The humans listened politely, occasionally exchanging glances. When she finished, Admiral Chun leaned forward. Counterproposal, she said simply. Full partnership. Equal status with the Empire's founding species. Shared technology exchange. Joint military exercises. And no restrictions on human expansion. Velora's form flickered wildly. Impossible. No species has ever been granted such status. You've barely achieved spaceflight. We've achieved more in 200 years than some species manage in millennia, Chun countered. We're not asking for special treatment. We're offering you a deal. What could you possibly offer the Empire? Chun smiled wider. Want to see something cool? Before Velora could respond, Chun activated her own holographic display. It showed a human shipyard, but not one building the blocky warships. This one was constructing something else entirely. We call it the Prometheus Project. See, when Commander Zekthar visited, his ship's emissions gave us some interesting data about your fold space technology. We couldn't replicate it exactly. Your tech is way beyond us. But humans are really good at finding different solutions to the same problem. The display showed a massive ring-shaped construction, crude by Imperial standards, but unmistakably a faster-than-light drive system. You reverse-engineered fold space technology from passive sensor readings? Velora couldn't hide her shock. Not reverse-engineered. We developed our own approach. Your ships fold space elegantly, like origami. Ours punches a hole through it. Crude, energy-intensive, probably dimensionally unstable, but it works. Probably dimensionally unstable? Zekthar interjected, alarmed. Oh, definitely unstable. We've lost 3 test ships to what we're calling dimensional shear. But the 4th one made it to Proxima Centauri and back in 2 days. The Imperial delegation exchanged horrified glances. Fold space technology had taken the Empire thousands of years to perfect safely. The humans had created a working, if dangerous, version in months. You're insane, Velora stated flatly. Maybe, Chin agreed. But we're also fast learners. Imagine what we could accomplish working together instead of against each other. The Empire doesn't need unstable technology or reckless allies. No? Let me show you something else. The display changed to show long-range sensor data. At the edge of the galaxy, something was moving. Multiple contacts, massive energy signatures, approaching slowly but steadily. We've been tracking these for 6 months, Chen explained. We call them the unknown hostiles. They're coming from intergalactic space, and they're not friendly. 3 species on the rim have gone dark after contact. Velora has studied the data. We've detected similar anomalies. The Empire is investigating. Investigating. Right. Chen's tone suggested what she thought of that. Here's the thing, Ambassador. Whatever's coming, it's not going to care about your technological superiority or our crude weapons. It's going to care about survival. And humans? We're really good at survival. She stood, moving to the window overlooking Earth. We evolved on a death world. Predators, diseases, natural disasters, ice ages, our planet tried to kill us every day. So we got tough. We got smart. And, most importantly, we got mean when necessary. You're threatening us? No, I'm explaining us. The Empire sees our rapid military buildup as aggression. But look at our history. Every time humanity has faced extinction, we've come back stronger. We don't build weapons because we want to fight. We build them because we know, deep in our bones, that something out there wants to kill us. And now, she gestured at the sensor data. Something is... The room fell silent. Finally, the Chinese representative spoke. The Empire has protected known space for millennia. We respect that. But protection based on technological superiority alone is fragile. What happens when you meet something more advanced? That's never happened, Velora insisted. Yet, several humans said simultaneously. Admiral Chun returned to her seat. Here's what humanity offers. We'll join the Empire as full partners. We'll share our technology, all of it, including the stuff that scares us. We'll contribute ships and soldiers to mutual defense. But, in exchange, we want access to your technology, freedom to expand as we see fit, and a voice in Imperial decisions. And if we refuse, then we'll defend ourselves alone. We'll build our 1,000 ugly ships. We'll punch unstable holes through space-time. We'll turn every human into a soldier, and every world we settle into a fortress. And when those unknown hostiles arrive, we'll fight them with nuclear-pump lasers and kinetic kill vehicles and whatever other primitive weapons we can imagine. Some of us will survive. We always do. She paused. But wouldn't it be better if we fought together? Velora found herself at an impasse. Everything about these humans violated Imperial norms. They were too aggressive, too primitive, too chaotic. But they were also innovative, determined, and growing stronger at an alarming rate. And those sensor readings of the unknown hostiles were deeply troubling. I'll need to consult with the Inner Council, she said finally. Of course. Take your time, but not too much time. Chun gestured toward the shipyards visible through the window. We're building ship number 63 right now. By the time you get back to your capital and debate and return, we'll have over 100. The question is whether those ships will fly Imperial colors or Earth ones. As the meeting adjourned, Zekthar found himself walking with Admiral Chun. You knew we were coming, he said. It wasn't a question. We hoped. Commander, your visit was the best thing that could have happened to humanity. It unified us, gave us purpose, showed us we were behind, but not hopeless. And if we'd come to conquer? Chen's smile turned predatory. Then, you'd have learned why humans have a saying. You can kill us, but you can't defeat us. There's a difference. You're gambling with your species' survival. No, we're ensuring it. One way or another, humanity will survive what's coming. The only question is whether the Empire will. As the Imperial delegation departed Armstrong Station, Velora was deep in thought. The humans hadn't just rejected subordination. They'd turned the entire negotiation on its head. They presented themselves not as primitives seeking protection, but as equals offering alliance. They're insane, she murmured. Yes, Zekthar agreed. But they're also right. Those unknown hostiles, the Empire's technology might not be enough. We've grown comfortable, complacent. The humans haven't had that luxury. You're suggesting we accept their terms? I'm suggesting we consider that maybe, just maybe, the Empire needs them more than they need us. They'll fight the unknown hostiles with or without us. But with us, they might fight more effectively, Velora completed. Or they might drag us into their chaotic approach to warfare. As the harmony of thought engaged its full drive, neither of them could shake the image of those ugly human ships under construction. Each one a testament to a species that didn't build vessels according to any civilized standard. But then, again, maybe civilization, as the Empire defined, was about to become obsolete. The unknown hostiles were coming, and humanity was preparing to meet them with sledgehammers. The only question was whether the Empire would be holding sledgehammers too, or standing behind those who were. 6 months had passed since the diplomatic meeting, and The Galactic Empire remained paralyzed by indecision. The Inner Council debated, committees analyzed, and bureaucrats filed reports while the humans continued building. Their fleet had grown to 180 vessels, each one an affront to aesthetic sensibility and a testament to practical warfare. High Executive Valnash stood before the strategic display in the Empire's military command center, watching the latest intelligence reports with growing concern. The unknown hostiles had claimed 3 more systems on the galactic rim. Each time, the pattern was identical. All communications ceased. Scout ships found only dead worlds stripped of resources and mysterious energy signatures that defied analysis. Your Excellence, Military Commander Thrace entered, his scaled hide rippling with anxiety. The humans have sent another message. Let me guess, they want an answer about partnership. No, Your Excellence. They're mobilizing their entire fleet, moving toward the rim. Valnash's wings snapped fully open in surprise. Toward the unknown hostiles? That's suicide. They've also sent this. Thrace activated a hologram showing Admiral Chun, but she looked different. Harder. The friendly diplomat was gone, replaced by someone who had seen too many battles. High Executor Valnash, the recording began. The unknown hostiles just hit Kepler 442. That's 60 light years from Earth. Our colonies on Kepler 442b had 8 million people. Had. Past tense. We're done waiting for the Empire to decide if we're worthy partners. We're going to fight. You can join us or watch from safety while we bleed for the galaxy. Your choice. Chin out. Kepler 442 is an unclaimed space, Thrace noted. The humans expanded there without permission. Of course they did, Valnash murmured. How long until their fleet reaches the rim? At their crude FTL speeds? 3 weeks. And our nearest battle fleet? 6 weeks if we departed immediately. Valnash studied the tactical display. The human fleet was already in motion, 180 ugly blocks of metal and weapons racing toward an enemy that had annihilated every species encountered. It was madness. It was suicide. It was magnificent, she whispered. Your Excellence, don't you see? They're not waiting for permission. They're not debating or analyzing. Their people were killed, so they're going to fight. When was the last time the Empire responded to a threat with such immediacy? Commander Thrace shifted uncomfortably. The reconciliation of Altair, 800 years ago, and that took 2 years of debate before we acted. The humans decided in hours. She turned from the display. Mobilize the 3rd and 5th fleets. We're going to the rim. Your Excellence, the Council hasn't authorized. The Council can continue debating while species die. I'm authorizing it. Send a message to the human fleet. Tell them. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Tell them the Empire stand with Earth. 3 weeks later, the combined human fleet dropped out of their unstable FTL at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Admiral Chun stood on the bridge of the UES Sledgehammer, humanity's flagship, studying the tactical display with grim satisfaction. All ships reporting in, her tactical officer announced. 178 vessels combat ready. 2 lost in transit due to dimensional shear. Chun nodded. They'd gotten better at the dangerous journey, but their FDL technology still killed ships randomly. The crews knew the risks. They came anyway. Sensor sweep, she ordered. Find the bastards. The system was eerily quiet. Kepler 442b, once a thriving human colony, was now a dead rock. The oceans were gone, the atmosphere stripped away, the surface scarred by massive excavations. Whatever the unknown hostiles were, they consumed entire worlds. Contact. The sensor officer's voice cracked. Multiple contacts emerging from the second gas giant's moon. Energy signatures are, sir, they're off the scale. The tactical display updated, and Chun felt her blood chill. The unknown hostiles were beautiful in the way a shark was beautiful, perfectly designed for their purpose. Their ships were crystalline constructs that seemed to bend space around them, moving with impossible grace. Where human ships were ugly blocks, these were works of art. Deadly art. How many? Chun asked quietly. 40 vessels, Admiral, each one twice the size of our largest ship. The bridge fell silent. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing technology that made even the empires seem primitive. But Chun had studied human history. Thermopylae, Rorke's Drift, the Alamo. Humans had a long tradition of fighting impossible odds. All ships, this is Admiral Chun. You know what we're facing. You know our odds. But those were our people on Kepler 442b. Our families. Our future. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity doesn't run. We don't surrender. And we sure as hell don't go quietly. All weapons hot. Let's remind these crystal bastards why Earth is a death world. Chin out. The human fleet accelerated, engines burning at maximum. The unknown hostiles moved to intercept, their formations perfect, their movements synchronized. The first exchange would tell everything. At maximum range, the aliens fired. Beams of coherent energy that seemed to twist reality itself lanced out, striking the human ships. Shields, crude electromagnetic barriers, flared and died. Hull armor sublimated instantly. The U.S. warrior's pride simply ceased to exist, every atom scattered. But the humans kept coming. Return fire. Everything we have. 177 ships opened fire simultaneously. Kinetic projectiles accelerated to significant fractions of light speed. Nuclear missiles streamed by the thousands. Magnetic cannons hurled metallic asteroids. Laser batteries pumped by fusion explosions carved lines of destruction through space. The unknown hostile shields rippled, absorbing the assault with contemptuous ease. Their return fire was precise, surgical. More human ships died. But something strange happened. One kinetic round, fired from a U.S. stubborn bastard, hit at exactly the right angle at exactly the right moment when the alien shield cycled. It punched through, striking the crystalline hull. The impact was minimal, barely a scratch. The alien ship's response was not minimal. It erupted in a cascade of explosions, the crystalline structure shattering like glass. The perfectly designed ship, built for energy manipulation and elegant destruction, had one weakness: simple physical impact at the right moment. Did you see that? Shin shouted. Their shields cycle. Time it right, and kinetics get through. All ships, saturation fire. Overwhelm their cycling. The human fleet's tactics shifted. Instead of coordinated volleys, they began continuous fire, streams of projectiles creating a constant rain of metal. It was wasteful, inefficient, and exactly the kind of brute force solution the aliens hadn't expected. Another alien ship shattered. Then another. But humans were still dying faster. The U.S. Defiant exploded, taking 800 souls with it. The Indomitable was sliced in half by an energy beam. The aliens adapted quickly, their formations shifting to minimize exposure to kinetic bombardment. Admiral, the communications officer yelled. Fold space, signatures detected. It's the Empire. The 3rd and 5th Imperial fleets emerged from fold space in perfect formation, 600 ships of elegant design and advanced technology. High Executor Valnash herself commanded from the flagship Eternal Wisdom. Human vessels, this is High Executor Valnash. We stand with you. Uploading tactical data on shield cycling patterns now. Chun felt a savage grin spread across her face. About damn time. All ships, coordinate with Imperial forces. Let's show these crystal bastards how the galaxy fights back. The battle shifted. Where the human ships were sledgehammers, the Imperial vessels were rapiers. They danced through space, their energy weapons precisely timed to strike during the millisecond gaps in the unknown hostile shields. The humans continued their barrage, forcing the aliens to maintain their shields at maximum, creating the gaps the Empire exploited. But the unknown hostiles weren't finished. From the gas giant emerged more ships, hundreds of them, smaller but just as deadly. They swarmed toward the Allied fleet, energy weapons creating a web of destruction. They're trying to overwhelm us, Valnash observed, her voice calm across the communication channel. Admiral Chun, I recommend we withdraw and regroup. Negative, Chen replied. You retreat if you want. Humans are staying. That's suicide. That's humanity. All ships, prepare for close combat. If we're dying today, we're taking them with us. The human fleet surged forward directly into the swarm. It was insane, suicidal, and completely unexpected. The smaller alien vessels, designed for long-range energy combat, suddenly found themselves in knife-fighting range with ships built like flying fortresses. The UES Sledgehammer rammed an alien vessel, its reinforced prow crushing the crystalline hull. Point defense weapons designed to stop missiles proved equally effective at point-blank range against delicate alien constructs. Human ships died by the dozens, but they died fighting, each one taking enemies with them. The Imperial fleet watched in horrified awe as the humans turned space combat into a brutal melee. There was no elegance, no tactical finesse, just raw determination and a willingness to trade lives for victory. Humans are insane, someone whispered on the Imperial command channel. Yes, Val Nash agreed, and thank the cosmos for that. All ships support the human advance. Don't let their sacrifice be wasted. The combined assault was too much. The unknown hostiles, for all their advanced technology, had never encountered a species willing to ram them. Their formations broke, their perfect synchronization shattered. One by one, the beautiful crystalline ships fell to ugly human stubbornness and precise Imperial strikes. The largest alien vessel, what appeared to be a command ship, began charging a weapon that made space itself ripple. Energy readings are off the scale, an Imperial officer reported. If that fires, it'll destroy half our fleet. Then we stop it, Chen declared. All ships capable of movement, concentrate fire on that command vessel. Everything we have left, the battered human fleet, reduced to less than 80 ships, turned their weapons on the command vessel. The Imperial fleet joined them, 600 beams of directed energy combining with thousands of kinetic rounds and missiles. The alien ship's shields held, impossibly strong. It's not enough, someone said. Chun looked at her bridge crew, saw the determination in their eyes, and made a decision that would echo through human history. All hands, this is Admiral Chun. Prepare for ramming speed. Admitted, no. Val Nash's voice cut through the channel. There must be another way. There is. You live to tell this story. Make sure they know humans don't build ships like anyone else, and we don't fight like anyone else either. It's been an honor. Sledgehammer out. The UES Sledgehammer, humanity's first true warship, accelerated beyond all safety margins. Its engines, crude fusion drives that engineers said could never exceed certain limits, were pushed past breaking. The ship groaned, metal stressed beyond tolerance, but it held together by pure human stubbornness. The alien command ship tried to evade